chat over the course of the day, which is this real need perhaps for a system dynamic community of practice. And Vanessa's going to talk to us about that. But Rony's also here as the CEO of the Association of Professional Healthcare Analysts. And Rony, lovely to have you here. We've already had a shout out for your fantastic organisation already, and Peter's back again to contribute to this conversation as well. So I think maybe without further ado, Vanessa, shall I hand over to you and you can lead us through this final conversation? Once again, this session is being recorded, so for people who miss it and would like to contribute or listen in, it will be there after the event.
Thank you, Caroline. I think this session has lots of personal meaning to me, because when I started my journey here in the NHS almost 6 years ago, we were focused on something completely different. There was no opportunity to talk about this type of modeling. Even talking about advanced analytics was a big challenge. But we're in different territory now. Leave alone thinking 5 years ago, having a day dedicated to system dynamics, there was no way to do that. I got lots of blank eyes every now and again back then when people say, no, we don't do that here. But we are in a much better position right now. We're discussing a lot today of the things that we, regardless of what ICS or what region you are joining us from, we share similar issues. It's not exclusive to anyone what we are all facing. Also the limitations in terms of analytical skills. We know that analysts, they need support to develop these skills, but it's not a purely analytical process. They need to engage with a wider group of stakeholders. So priorities for ICSs, they are trying to answer different questions that they weren't familiar with, perhaps in the position they were before. But also for us in NHS England, we see this as a new opportunity. And we want to use this session to help us shape our offer. We believe from today, and hopefully you believe with me that today, that system dynamics is useful, is an approach that should be embedded in the NHS widely, but how do we spread it? Is the big question for this session. And I think we shouldn't start building on a new community of practice. We wanted to bring here today 2 different extinct communities, AphA that will be introduced by Rony, and then Peter on behalf of the system dynamics. And I will hand over to Rony first.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thank you,
Rony?
Caroline. Thank you, Vanessa. Thanks for inviting me here. I'm delighted to be here. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Rony Arafin. So I'm the CEO of AphA, the Association of Professional Healthcare Analysts. So I've got a couple of slides. I'm going to talk you through very quickly about what AphA is, what it is, what it stands for, what we do. So the first challenge, obviously, for me to share the slides and make sure it works. So hopefully you can see my slide. So very quickly, I'll talk about, thank you, Alice, the professionalization and our work. So we are the professional body for analysts working in health and care in the UK. So AphA have got 12 different branches across the UK. So you've heard from Jenny Morgan, we've got a Welsh branch, we've got a Scotland and Northern Ireland branch, as well as some branches across the across England. So we have over 800 members across the UK now, and we are working towards, obviously, growing our membership, and we invite anybody that are not yet members, please do look at what we do and get involved if you can. So AphA works with a range of different partners. I'm sure colleagues will share the slides afterwards, so I'm not going to spend too much time, but there are lots of analytical work going on at the moment, and AphA works with a range of different partners to deliver and bring together all of these work that's going on. So essentially, if I want to explain everything on one page, our key things are AphA's offering professional registration. So this is a recognition for us as an analyst working in health and care. So we provide professional registration. There are 5 different levels, which is accredited by Federation of Informatics Professionals, FedIP. So we sit under the FedIP family. BCS, another professional body, also sits under FedIP as well. So AphA have lots of workshops and events sharing good work, which you've seen a lot of good work today from this conference. We have a monthly magazine dedicated to lots of analytical content. But what we really feel proud about is that we are here to represent all of the grassroots analysts across all of the frontline analyst profession people are working at. So at all levels, we are able to represent a wide range of analysts working in health and care. So people have chance to network with each other and get that kind of recognition. But also, we are really keen to move forward with developing a national competency framework, which will provide learning and development, signposting and options for what you have to do to move forward in your career. But also, as part of that, take part in the mentoring program we're offering as well. So I've touched all of those things, but when the slides are shared, these are just the contact details. But really on my last slide to talk about what we feel from a professional body and how we could support with creation of or introduction of BSD communities of practice. We really support this. As I said, we have a lot of members. I'll stop sharing. We have members across the UK, and we know that analysts need to work collaboratively with clinicians, really need to translate our profession in a way that people understand. And we need to do co-creation, co-design. People talk about that well, actually working together with other partners in the organizations, other clinicians in the organization, other operational colleagues. But actually why we're doing that is actually the underlying fact is that we're all working here in the NHS to make a difference to the people coming into our services, making their life and experience better. So we stand here to really provide the tools, the necessary support that an analytical profession needs, and you need as an analytical professional, and help you to find these opportunities and really provide a quality service that as analysts we provide. So I'm really keen to get involved in the conversation and support anything like this, because this is a great opportunity for any analyst to get involved with. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Peter, I think you are next up.
Just going to find a single slide.
And please do pop any thoughts, any questions, any comments into the chat. We've got some lovely comments coming up.
There you go. Just one simple slide just to speak to system dynamics. There is an International System Dynamics Society. I was introduced to it not as early as my when I started. So it's sorry.
Don't worry, you're fine.
So the international system, I've put the website there for the UK chapter. People who contributed today, Jenny from Wales. In fact, Vanessa now is a member of the UK chapter policy group, as has Sean been, and so there's quite a lot of representation. The society runs international conferences, has various special interest groups. It's really what the members make of it. There's quite a cross section of academic and non-academic, if you like. Its roots in MIT in the States still sort of flow down the generations of practitioners, but it's a good environment just to sort of learn about practice in system dynamics. I've put there the International Society, the UK chapter, and the fact that the International Society also runs a health special interest group. Very simply, opportunities to network, keeping up to date, and also learning about sometimes job opportunities, training and development opportunities. So a resource, by all means, sort of Google both the UK chapter and the International Society. And if it floats your boat, then that's great. If you'd like to get involved in the UK chapter, you could talk to any of the above mentioned, Jenny, Vanessa, Sean, myself, and who have I missed out? Douglas will tell you how we go about the business. So.
Brilliant. Thanks, Peter. That's great. Thank you. So we've already got some questions in the chat. Perhaps this one is for you, Rony, which is from Bertha saying, how many members have you got and how does the registration process work? And could you perhaps just say a little bit about for those who are online who are keen to join you or to explore that opportunity?
Sure. Thank you, Caroline, and thank Bertha for asking the question. So you have to be an AphA member to go through the registration process. So we have just over 800 members across the UK now. So I'm registered as a leading practitioner, so I can speak from experience. So we have 5 different levels of registration. So you can start as an associate practitioner, which is essentially level 1, and go through practitioner, advanced practitioner, senior practitioner, and senior practitioner, advanced practitioner, and leading practitioner. So 5 different levels. So currently they're paper-based, but we are working on an online system actually, which is really exciting for us. So by early next year, so January, February, we are hoping that we will be able to release our online platform where you'll be able to upload all of your reflective practice, what you need to do to apply for registration. And these are all of our standards for how you become registered at which appropriate levels, all available. And Edwin's very kindly posted our website link. So you will see a link for professional registration. You'll find the standards there. Then you can choose which level to apply for. And with the online portal, which is paper-based now, you will be able to just upload everything online, and the assessors they will be able to check it quickly as well. And also, in addition to that, because in our profession, we want to carry forward with moving forward with lots of experience and knowledge. So we want to create a CPD log as well. So that will also be available on that platform. But we have simplified quite a lot of this standard and processes based on the competency framework work we have done recently. So hopefully even on the paper forms, you might find it's easier than what it was before.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. That's great. Really, really helpful piece of information. So I hope that helped clarify that process. So Aaron's come on and given some suggestions, and there's been a few thumbs up for that, about something similar to NHSR Community, a place where people can ask questions, support each other. And I think Vanessa, Edwin, Alice, we've got a Menti where we're going to actually ask people for their ideas. Vanessa, do you want to move to that first before we have a wider conversation?
Yeah, I think it'd be good to gather people's thoughts first, and then we can have a bit of a discussion.
Yeah, great. Like that idea a lot. So
yeah,
there's
so
a
I've just posted a link in the chat. No problem. So there'll be 2 questions. One is, what would a good system dynamics community of practice look like for you? Just share my screen so people can see what people are writing. And the second one will be about the frequency of engaging. And Aaron, you mentioned Slack. That's one of the potential options if we're talking about daily engagement. I put Slack as an example based on your suggestion. So repository of models. That was discussed a lot today. Library, shareable materials. Interaction via Teams. Can everyone see that on the screen?
Yeah,
I won't read
absolutely.
them all
It's coming up clear. Anybody else join the Menti and add some thoughts in? Yeah, more coming in now. Fantastic. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, into Teams channel. So some people want to kind of have something like WhatsApp or Slack or Teams to have an ongoing conversation, shared good practice. And I did notice throughout the day some people were asking about, you know, replicating models, not reinventing the wheel. And we hope, you know, we can start this by, we'll mention this later, but we'll invite everyone to our future NHS platform. We'll be creating a section around system modelling generally, with a lot of resources, all of the frameworks which we mentioned at the start of the day, a link to case studies, and all the learning and training resources that we know of, which we'll keep adding to as we keep discovering pockets of things happening in the NHS. So some really interesting things coming through. Support for technical problems. Do check out our future NHS if you're not part of there already. We offer support surgeries to kind of troubleshoot models and talk to people on an individual basis. So I'd be happy to speak to people about their models. So shall I move on to the next question? There's some interesting stuff coming through there.
We've still got people contributing at the moment, Edwin. Maybe just we're not short on time, so give it a minute or two.
Yeah.
I think it can sometimes take a little while for Minty to load as well. I was just going to say, while people are putting in their thoughts, I'd be really interested to hear from our non-analyst colleagues as well, because I think quite a lot of this has been quite technical and people have commented on that. But as we've said numerous speakers have said in numerous different ways, this really isn't purely about a technical exercise. Successful system dynamics modelling is about that whole working together piece, that relationship bit, that wider sense checking and making sure that it's operationally relevant. I'd be really interested to hear, what would a community practice look like to support people in the non-technical part of it, as well as the modelling bit.
Lovely. Good point, Alice.
20 people now, so anybody from a non-analyst background who'd like to suggest what might make this a useful community of practice for you, that'd be fantastic. Thoughts about perhaps that link with QI, which has been a bit of a theme across the day, hasn't it? Help getting started on a first model, that's nice. And I think that's perhaps one of the things that our colleagues in Norfolk, whose model was so impressive, wasn't it? They talked about how they started with something, just got going, and then built that really incredible model from that first work. So yeah, brilliant. Anybody else like to come in on the Menti?
Carolyn, just to mention in there, Norfolk and Waveney has been, what's the right word? Let me say, very open sharing the learnings with other system, not only in webinars like today, but they have been also sharing the journey with Bristol and North Somerset ICS, telling them, you know, sometimes we don't get this right. We have gone this route and then we have to go all the way back because it didn't work. And that level of honesty from them has been really good to see. And I would say that at least with Norfolk and Waveney and Bristol and North Somerset and South Gloucester ICS, we have a tiny community of practice already in there. And we can see how they learn from each other and how they are sharing what they have developed.
Yeah, I mean, at NHS Select, we've run some really nice improvement collaboratives. Oh, sorry,
would love to see that in the wider NHS.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That idea of kind of, you know, you get a set of people who are doing something interesting, share it with other people, swap your ideas, support each other, learn together. Really, really great way to learn and to scale improvement. So that's a really generous offer from you, Erin. Thank you for that.
Shall I move to the next question? Just
that'd be great.
But feel free to, people can share in the chat as well if you have ideas of what that might look like. But it's just a sense of if there was a sort of community of practice, whatever that looks like, how frequently would you want to engage with that? Oh, people are very quick. Someone's straight in there. I don't know if you can see my screen, but monthly popped up. Because actually, I think it was mentioned earlier, I think Abby, not to put Abby on the spot, but you know, people have full-time jobs, and actually this might be one of the things of many you're working on. Jenny mentioned this is one tool in the toolkit. You might be doing lots of other quality improvement work. So we recognise, you know, for us, it's a major focus trying to promote this work, but just trying to get a sense of, you know, how involved you want to be with something. It's a big part of your portfolio of work now. So we're getting a mixture of ad hoc, quarterly, monthly. Interesting. Really depends on kind of people's roles. This may change in a few months if people get more into it and start trying it, and then the ICS says, let's do this for all analytical models. Then you might need daily help. And I sense, Aaron, your journey is moving more towards system modeling, so that's really interesting. Has that shifted for you, Aaron? And not to put you on the spot.
I'm not sure, to be honest. Kind of, but we're finding our feet as well. We're still early in our journey, so who knows where it will go.
So this is really, really useful to get a sense of that. So maybe these type of events are still helpful to come together, you know, on a regularish basis to share, you know, case studies and things. But maybe there's a space for more frequent people who are much more involved in it. So that's really useful.
Just throwing it out there, but I wonder if we could do something similar to the Analyst X ones, where they do a 15-minute presentation once a week, and you just present on something in a lunch break. Literally 15 minutes, that's it.
It's like a stand-up type of thing.
Yeah, just a very, very quick demonstration of a model you're working on or a problem you're working on to share with the community once we have one.
Yeah. And
can I ask you something about that? Can you hear me, Edwin? I know my connection hasn't been good the last hour or so.
Much better.
Can you hear me?
Much better.
Yes,
okay.
Much better.
Aaron, people do present what they are working on, but do they also ask for help? So if you are conceptualizing an issue you want to model, do you go there and ask people, this is what I need to do, provide some guidance, or is just from the modeler showing people what they have developed?
I think it's just showing people what they have developed, but I would definitely like the latter, because at the moment it's me and Pete staring at it saying, have we got it right? And if there's somebody we could ask, have we got it right? That'd be fantastic.
So, yeah, I'll stop sharing. Back to you, Caroline, and team, Vanessa, Alice. It's really useful, though. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you for participating in that. Really, some really useful suggestions and feedback. Anybody else like to pop anything in the chat, or Vanessa, Alice, would you like to come in at all?
I was just going to say, I risk of repeating myself. We're really, really interested in hearing what people are wanting, what they're interested in. We're quite happy to experiment with things. So in terms of building a community of practice, this is something we're very committed to, but we're also very aware that it needs to meet other people's needs rather than our ideas of what other people's needs are. So please do keep sending through ideas. And if you think of something after this day and you're like, oh, actually, it'd be really useful if, don't be a stranger, get in touch, let us know, because we really do, as I say, want to make this sort of fit for purpose and work for you rather than us. Bruce, I can see you've got your hand up. Please do.
Yeah, real quick question. Are you linked in with the model hospital or model system people?
We are, but probably not as strongly as we should be, if I'm honest.
Okay, and it's the data element about that. Are they collecting data? Are they able to drive? Anyone able to drive the data requirements down into the people that are facing off with patients and collecting the data, such that it becomes easier to use in the models? I remember something that I think it was Jennifer said, that there was a lot of manual stuff going on, whereas these models ideally want automatic stuff to make it faster to do. Right? I'll shut up now.
Vanessa, do you want to come in on that? You can. I saw you nodding.
Yeah, no, we have certainly engaged with the model system team before. As you mentioned, we are not working as closely with them as we should, but obviously there is an opportunity in there for us to get well coordinated, because it's another national team sitting in NHS England as well. And yeah, absolutely an opportunity there.
I think part of it though is that and this is just a personal opinion, but it's because the engagement part from the systems is so key, and to a certain extent the data that the model hospital or model system can provide is only one piece of the puzzle, but we absolutely should be working more closely with them.
Brilliant, thank you. Does anybody else have any burning ideas, suggestions, anything they'd like to see around this community of practice? I've got the sense throughout the day that there is a real appetite to share and learn across this group. So I think anything that you can suggest that might help that would be great. Guess we're heading towards the end of the day now, so it might be that people are feeling a little bit like heads are full of SD and maybe, but as Alice said, if there's stuff that you would like to suggest, please come in. Elizabeth, come on in.
Yes, just it was something that we mentioned. Let me put my camera. We mentioned in the workshop about using open source. One of the issues that we came across is that we have very restrictive systems in the NHS in relation about installing software, which is not approved by our IT colleagues. And open source is one of those that will probably hit a wall, because they are not very keen on using open source in our within my organization in particular. So that was one issue. And the other issue is perhaps we can see this as an opportunity for NHS England to develop some sort of software that will enable us to start using system dynamics with an NHS perspective, because all the different models, including, what is it called, that one, Architect Stella or something like that, is while they are well designed and probably will help us, still are not properly tailored to our needs, which is very much focused on the patient patient pathways and everything else that is added. So it was only a suggestion that perhaps we could just look into this opportunity to develop our own software as part of this system dynamics model that we are exploring.
A topic that I think will be very